Season 24, let's start with where we left off, gents. The champions, Atlanta United, the Five Stripes, who've come in and really kind of raised the bar in many ways, haven't they, in the 2 years. But does this feel like a fork in the road to them, and specifically with the direction they've gone now with their coach, Frank de Boer? Tata Martino, obviously. Achieved great things. They could have gone, they could have stuck with the Argentine formula. They did not. Sampaoli, Guillermo Barros Schelotto, who we'll get on to later in the show, they didn't go in that direction. Is it a gamble the way they have gone, do you think, going with De Boer?
Naturally, on paper, it seems that way. And from the outside looking in, I'm merely evaluating the choice given the player personnel that you have available and the connections that you have sold as a club and saying, look, this is what we're building. And look at the path that we've created between us and the young South American player. And look at the productivity that we've gotten from those players, whether it's Miguel Almirón and Joseph Martinez, Tito Villalba, so on and so forth. That path has been there. And so that's not to say that Frank de Boer cannot come in and get these players to answer his call and to execute his game plan out on the field. But I'm merely saying that if Tata Martino gets up in front of those players, right away, there's a connection there. Right away. Just simply because culturally you come from places that you're familiar with. And you can communicate with those players in a way that you can get their attention just by walking into the locker room. Frank de Boer can do that, but I think it would take a longer period of time because now players, again, you have to flip the switch for whatever your relationship was with Tata Martino and now say, well, let's see what Frank de Boer brings to the table. Now, players, from my experience, you're more than open for a new manager to come in. But the moment that something goes in a direction that doesn't point to the sort of success that you had with the last guy, then you start saying, well, that's not the way we did it last year. And last year we won the championship. There was a formula that was working. Yeah. Tata Martinez walked away. You may think that naturally there were other choices that might have been a little bit more suited to what you have in front of you with this group of players. But you've decided to go in the Frank de Boer direction, and if it's successful, I'll be the first one to say, you know what, I was wrong. Yeah. But the talent of this team should be successful regardless of whether Frank de Boer is there or not.
You mentioned de Boer's resume, and I get that there are like some concerns there. I think if you look at the time at Ajax, he takes over a team that wasn't winning, got them winning a title, and then kept them winning. And then the rest of his resume I kind of take with a grain of salt. You do? Yeah, because at Crystal Palace, he's clearly trying to play possession with a team that, you know, is what, middle to bottom of the table. We know that generally is not going to work in the Premier League. I think you can measure his tenure at Crystal Palace in minutes. It's less than 500 minutes or so. So I take that with a grain of salt. And then his time at Inter Milan, he takes over at the end of an ownership change. And specifically for MLS fans, the ownership group in charge of Inter Milan when he took over is the same group that took over DC United in 2012. And I'll just say this. That business group has a very clear way of doing business. It's to strip things down, and I think that's probably the situation that Inter Milan was when De Boer inherits it. So to me, I'm not so concerned about maybe like the resume, but Ali's point, you can maybe talk more about the tactical differences between Tata and De Boer. I don't know that I'm super qualified on that, but the relationships are clear. Like, you mentioned the big guys, but Barco, Escobar, LGP, Joseph. I mean, maybe Joseph's not a Tata guy, but Tata's clearly the one that sold Joseph. Remedi, Villalba, who you mentioned. These are all guys who are there like specifically because of Tata. Almirón in his Players Tribune article says, Tata is Atlanta for me. To me, you know, all of these guys were here because of Tata and then maybe playing their best and motivated uniquely because of him. So for me, it's just like a huge emotional question more than it is like a tactical question.
It was interesting, Ali, on that subject of tactics and philosophy and style to hear Carlos Bocanegra and Darren Eales come out and say, listen, Frank's style of play was very important to us. His philosophy, his clockwork orange possession football. It's almost like they wanted to change. They didn't talk about winning. They were like, it's his style of play and the fact that he's got a track record of working with youth too that really attracted them. So, but that was interesting to me because they could have played it safe.
Yeah.
Made it much safer with
Well,
Scalotto
and to their credit, Darren Eales and Carlos Bocanegra, Atlanta United, they've hit it out of the park in every decision they've made, seemingly. Atlanta has come into the league and set a new standard for everybody, and everybody's trying to catch up to them. So they have bought themselves some equity when it comes to that. The only thing I would put forth is the fact that you have a team, and you did certainly last year, a team that in transition there was nobody better in Major League Soccer.
Yeah.
When Miguel Almirón got going with that ball at speed in transition, and Joseph Martinez is running, and Villalba is running full speed, Julian Gressel is coming from behind, and they got themselves in a position where they recovered possession of the ball in the midfield, and then they got after you, they were impossible to stop.
Yeah.
Now, I'm all for possession, but if you take away one of your strengths as a team and you sacrifice that because you're trying to marry a style of play, I think that's a mistake. And again, I'll go back to the initial point that do the pieces right now available in that locker room match that style of play?
Right.
That's a big question.
You also made a good point, though. The pieces in that locker room are like really, really good relative to the rest of MLS.
Yeah.
I think they do have an overwhelming talent edge, at least like in the attacking third and on. So I think it's worth noting that even though the pieces may not fit, like De Boer still has a great team, and he should be held to that standard. And on top of that, the other two names you mentioned, Bocanegra and Eales, like maybe I'm disrespecting their work, or I don't know as much about it. I give Tata a lot of credit for those first 2 years in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I think that those two guys now have to really, truly prove their value, because Tata was, as much as a great coach, he was maybe the best recruiter in MLS.
Talking of the talent they have, or now have, short list: Neymar, Ronaldinho, Tevez, former South American Players of the Year. Now they have the current South American Player of the Year. Pity Martinez, different sort of signing to Almiron, isn't he? 25. He's already in the peak of his career. Can he? What's your sense of him, guys? Can he come in and do what Almiron? He's a different sort of player to Almiron. Can he have the effect that Almiron did? Can he take that even further?
There are a lot of good players in South America.
Yeah.
A lot of talent in South America. And this guy was the most outstanding player in a team that won Copa Libertadores for River Plate. Man, the expectations got to be sky high for Pity Martinez. And it's not unfair to be expecting a whole lot from him because of the resume. This is as strong as resume as you can find from a player coming into Major League Soccer in the prime of his career. Pity Martinez should be held to that standard. And let me tell you, I am expecting him to be just as good as Miguel Almirón, even if he is a different player, to have a similar impact to Atlanta United and to create opportunities for Joseph Martinez the way that Miguel Almirón did. Maybe a different player, but the standard should not be any different. And if you're willing to sell Miguel Almirón because you're bringing Pity Martinez in, then he's got to deliver.
February 26, 2012, 7 years ago to this day. Can you remember what you were doing? Stevie was celebrating Liverpool's last trophy, a League Cup against Cardiff City from the division below, won on penalties. It's been a long time. A number of teams have won trophies in the intervening period, who many would consider would be less of a stature than Liverpool. Wigan Athletic under Roberto Martinez in 2013. Swansea City, the League Cup, under Michael Laudrup. And then in 2016, of course, Leicester City's Premier League win under Claudio Ranieri. Are Liverpool closer? Are Liverpool going to do it this year, Stevie? It's their only trophy in the last 12 years. It's been a long, long time.
Listen, they've been close since, I think the Leicester one thrown in there is a little harsh. I mean, that's a result of the century, never mind anything else. They have been in cup finals. They've been in 3. They've been in the League Cup final, which they lost to City.
Finished runners-up in every single competition
They've been
since
in
that win.
Yeah, Europa League final, lost out, and then last year Champions League. So the question of are they getting closer, then 100%. I mean, we're talking inches of crossing the line first. And they find themselves in that same position now. Top of the Premier League, and then with a good chance in the Champions League. So, yes, close, but if you're the manager of Liverpool, close usually isn't good enough.
Nobody in this organisation understands it more than you, what the culture of success is at Liverpool Football Club. Have the fans had to adjust their estimations of what success means, or have they just had to be more patient?
No, it's definitely patience. I don't think the expectations have changed. I certainly don't think the hope has changed. But what has changed is that over the years, they haven't really had the players on the field that have been able to put them in a position where they expect to win lots of trophies. I would suggest that today that has changed, and I suggest that it has changed because of the new owners. If all they wanted to do was win a trophy, then they would just go down and tap on Klopp's office door and say, look, we need a trophy, so when we play in the FA Cup or the League Cup, the Carabao Cup, then we want to win it, and that will kick us off. But they haven't done that. The owners and Klopp are all about the Premier League and the Champions League, and I think we're beginning to see that, certainly from last year and now this year with Liverpool sat top of the league.
Many people would say it's a correlation between amount of money spent and, of course, net spending on transfer fees, not talking about wages, but transfer fees. Liverpool come out of it looking very, very good. They've bought and sold their way back into a position of strength, many would say. Do they need to change that slightly to just break the bank for one or two to get them over the line, or would that compromise everything?
No, I think they did that. They did that when they signed Van Dijk and when they signed Alisson Becker in goal. I think that has catapulted them in to the realms of anybody in the world, including your Barcelonas and your Real Madrids that play Liverpool, have to take notice, because Liverpool are the real deal now. Liverpool have as good an opportunity this season to win the double, to win the Champions League and the Premier League, as much as any other team around the world. So Liverpool have gone that extra mile, but they've done it in a smart way. They've bought well, they've bought young, they've bought potential that has matured. The likes of Salah, the likes of Mane, Firmino. I mean, all these guys were bought in and were not relatively unknown, but nobody was saying these are going to be superstars. They're now in that sort of position. So Liverpool have bought smart, and they've gone the extra mile that you were asking about when you turn around and you pay a world record fee for a centre-back and a goalkeeper. So Liverpool have all the pieces of the puzzle. Klopp's job now is to put those pieces together and make it win.
If it doesn't happen this year, for whatever reason, the outside pressure, the media hype will be there again saying, Klopp's been here 3.5 years, he hasn't won. All of these other managers have been at their clubs lesser time, they've all delivered trophies. Liverpool need to spend. All of the same stories will come up. How much time, but you get the feeling Liverpool are happy with Klopp and the long-term building project. So how long do you think he will give the job before he admits, you know what, I need to deliver a trophy, otherwise this doesn't mean much?
I don't think it will be up to him. I think the only way that he's not Liverpool's manager is if the owners decide that they're not on an upward spiral. A lot of times, particularly these days, things just come to an end. They run themselves out. Right now, Liverpool is still going that way, and they're very close to the top of the summit. So whilst that's happening, then I think Klopp will be there, and I don't think the fans or the board or anybody else would want him to leave either. So it's a case of getting over that final hurdle until such times as things start to go the wrong way.
And just looking ahead to the remaining months of this season, how far do you think they may go in the Champions League, and how do you think it will affect the league title chase?
Liverpool can win the Champions League. I mean, they haven't had the greatest of first leg results against Bayern Munich, but they can go to Bayern Munich and win. They have the ability, they have the players. So nobody can argue that Liverpool have an opportunity of winning the Champions League. And they have an opportunity, they are in pole position, they're a point ahead in the Premier League. So I don't see how anybody can be disappointed right now about anything that's going on at Liverpool.
And if you could only have one this year, the league?
Premier League, 100%.
We'll see if it happens, of course. Liverpool primed at the moment, despite a little bit of sticky form. We'll see how they get on with the full round of midweek fixtures. But Stevie's bet for Liverpool to do at least something this year to finally end that long, long wait. 7 years today, the last trophy delivered to the Anfield Trophy cabinet.
Kepa. He should be dropped tomorrow.
Kepa should be dropped tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Willie Caballero's an experienced goalkeeper. He should be dropped, fined and dropped for what he did. It was a cup final. And Sarri's already said today, whether it was an injury or cramp, that's going to affect him in the shootout. So we wanted to make the change. I wanted him off. And he was told to come off over a 3-minute spell, and he never came off. He should be dropped.
Should he be dropped?
Not after what Sarri said.
Right, he shot himself in the foot.
He shot himself in the foot. Straight afterwards, it's like, I don't want to hear any excuses. I told him to come off, and he didn't come off, and guess what? He's going to pay for it.
Right.
End of story. Then we're not sitting here talking about it.
Yes.
That's simple.
So he shouldn't be
Should have
dropped.
been. If he seriously thinks that he biffed him off, then absolutely. But he shouldn't have come out after the game and said, we've sorted it, it was a misunderstanding,
But that goes away
it's
now.
not a problem.
That goes away now with the fine.
How's it
goes
gone away?
Well, it's gone away by the fine. So the fine
Well, you
itself-
said it yourself. Why is he fining him if it was a misunderstanding
Because it's
and
not
everything's okay?
Because it's not a misunderstanding, and that is now clear because of the fine. So the whole emphasis has changed from a misunderstanding to that's them basically admitting.
But that's what we're sitting
No,
here saying.
you can say-
Sarri's an absolute shambles. This is a
It's
complete shambles.
Well, the PR hasn't helped him.
You could say it was a misunderstanding, but the fine is because his reaction to that misunderstanding as a player was poor. That's how you can frame this. But I'm with Stevie here. Given what we heard in the, let's say, 12, 24 hours after that incident, you don't drop him. I think they've made a mess of what we've heard since. But given what we heard initially, no.
We've got 2 Clásicos in 4 days at the weekend. It's in the league tomorrow. Copa del Rey, second leg, semi-final, 1-1. Remember, at the Camp Nou, a place in the final at stake. According to the bookies, Barcelona are favourites to advance. Big talking points from both sides going into this. For Barcelona, it's the form of Luis Suarez, and for Real Madrid, it's the soap opera that is Gareth Bale at the moment, Jules.
Yeah, you're right. I think Barcelona haven't been so dependent on Lionel Messi than at the moment. We saw that against Sevilla, obviously at the weekend, because of Luis Suarez's poor form, because of Coutinho's poor form, and because of the fitness of Ousmane Dembele, who's struggling to get back to his best level as well in the past few weeks. And for Real Madrid, the hump that Gareth Bale got after scoring that winning penalty at the weekend again didn't go down very well with the socios, or also with I think other players and people at the club. Even if Solari sort of didn't say that it didn't matter so much to him. However, you can feel the atmosphere there with Gareth Bale is not at the best, and you wonder if he will even start tomorrow after Vinicius, Benzema and Lucas Vazquez, for example, who have played so well together.
Do you start Bale tomorrow?
Probably not, no, because he hasn't been starting that often. Came off the bench, as Jules mentioned, and got that, was it a penalty?
Yeah, scored the winning penalty.
Scored the winning penalty, but was clearly frustrated because he's been benched and he's getting a bit of stick, and all the sort of stories have been floating around with him.
Yeah.
So he probably won't start, but I think this comes down to how Barcelona play. I mean, if Dembele's fit enough, I think he plays, because Coutinho's been struggling. Suarez will play anyway, but he'll try and come through his poor form, but it's going to come down to one guy. And he was unbelievable again at the weekend, Lionel Messi. It's going to come down to him. I fancy Barca to go there and win and go through.
Is it simple as that? If Messi has an off day, Real Madrid win. If he puts in the sort of performance we've seen in late, Madrid have got no chance?
Pretty much, yeah. I think Barcelona are absolutely favourites, Real Madrid are kind of reaching the stage where they don't want to play at home because everybody's so nervous and uptight because you've no idea what's going to happen. So, absolutely, 100%. If Messi turns up and is at his best, this game goes Barcelona's way.
Welcome into Extra Time. A lot of questions about the cake from yesterday, Shaq.
Cake is no more.
Well, that that was one of
There's
them.
very little of it left.
It was good. You didn't have any, did you, boys?
Typical, you get a cake and I'm off.
To be fair, I'm
Is that
sure.
planned?
No, Stevie.
You could have just come in for cake.
If I'd known.
Was that cake really a surprise, or did Shaka pull a Yaya Toure and demand a cake? You're full of your demands, aren't you, Shaq?
Yeah. Now, I'm still clinging to mid-40s-ish.
Shaq,
be
you
fair,
know it's gone.
that
You're
cake-
50.
I just thought it'd be a big cake to have mid-40s-ish
Nope.
as a cake.
So
It's done.
that cake never came through the normal channels here.
I don't know who. Well, one
It
of
was a
our,
bit big for the normal one.
Yeah, I
wasn't
think as it's 50, they went proper. So normally they just get one from a local supermarket, write "Happy Birthday, Craig" on it, and that's enough. Of Shaka, they pulled out all the stops.
it? Okay.
Appreciated it was. Thank you.
Is this dream job better than Brendan's last dream job? That's a good question. What do you think,
Did he
Steve?
say that?
Pardon? No, I don't know. I don't think so.
I would be surprised.
He said it at Celtic.
What do you think, Stevie? A lot of talk, of course, from Scotland and England fans regarding this move.
Listen, Celtic's historically is one of the biggest clubs in the world. But right now, the level of where they're playing is way, 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 way below the Premier League, for example. You know, I think Brendan wants to have the chance to be the manager of another Liverpool or a team like that.
Yeah.
And so this is part of the building block to get there. Go to Leicester. So I think it's a good move for him. You know, they're safe as houses. They ain't relegated. They've got a decent team. He will have some money that he can go and spend if he does it wisely, and so he can improve them. They will play attractive football. His teams do play attractive football. So this is a great move for him, I think.
Maybe Brendan should have waited. Brendan Rodgers should have waited for the opportunity to go to the team that Castle Rock Brit supports when his manager leaves to go to Man United or Real Madrid.
Ah.
Maybe Brendan should have went.
How do you know he's a Spurs fan?
Because he tweets a lot.
Oh, does he?
No, he doesn't tweet a lot. He tweets now and again.
Oh, there you go.
Boys, us, me.
I was just wondering, like,
He's a Spurs fan.
I thought it was something with Castle Rock. I was like, wow.
No, he is a Tottenham Hotspur supporter.
Right, okay.
Shaka, as a goalkeeper, what was the most annoying thing an opponent would do before taking a penalty against you?
Most annoying
Anything
thing.
that would wind you up?
Nah, I mean, at the professional level, players don't do nonsense like that.
No.
No.
What, like?
I've seen videos of strikers doing, there was one with a goalkeeper doing cartwheels.
Yeah.
But, strikers trying to put you off in one way or the other. People don't do that
No.
at that level.
No one will whisper, go, I'm going to your left,
No.
And then go to your left.
and call their bluff.
I've never found that.
No.
No, nobody came to whisper to me before personally.
Here's what's whispering not done.
That's not how it works.
You know how sometimes you see one of your teammates, I don't know if it's happened to you, but goalkeepers who stand behind the player and tell you where they think it's going to go. Do you just ignore that?
It only happened to me once, and I went, and it went the other way. I followed my teammates' instructions, and the ball went the other way.
No, this
So
is
I was
like when you watch a penalty shoot with a mate in the pub, and he goes, he's going to miss this, he's going to miss this. And eventually when he does, he goes, oh, I told you. So that's it.
You have some strange parallels here, Dan.
know,
I'm not sure.
Hold on.
You know
Run that by
You know
me.
when you're watching the game in a pub, penalty shootout,
Right.
and he goes, he's going to miss this, and then he scores. And then he says, oh, he's going to miss this one, then he scores. And he's going to miss this one, then he scores. Then like in the fifth one, he misses it, and he goes, I told you.
I've never had that.
No, never happened.
Right, good. I'm glad I told that story.
No.
Jules is here.
Almost
Jules,
as bad as Stevie's story from
come on.
You got me
Don't
right.
give me that.
You got me right out of jail there. By the way, there was a lot of penalties in one game. That
It's
he's going to miss it. No, he's not. He's going to miss it. No, he's
penalty
not.
shootout.
I don't go.
That's
I must
not normally
admit,
a
do you go to the pub to watch football?
No.
No, neither do I.
Oh, God, I used to go to the pub all the time and watch football.
Did anybody whisper in your ear when they punched you?
Yeah. Was it the same guy who always said they were going to miss it?
Can't watch football in a pub.
It was me.
Oh, it was you, man.
Jules, Sancho over Mbappe on FC's weekend player power rankings. Who made this list? What does the panel think?
A joke, that's what the panel thinks. It's a joke. Kylian Mbappe scored 2 goals at the weekend to become the youngest player in French top flight to score 50 goals, to get to the 50-goal mark in, I think, 50 years or 60 years, something like that. And Sancho scored a lovely volley and an assist as well, helping Dortmund to win at the weekend against Bayer Leverkusen. But surely Mbappe has to be higher than Sancho in that power ranking.
Who do you love more, Mbappe or your cricket-playing son? Jules?
My sons, my wife, my daughter will watch this, so I have to say my son, but it's a close call. It's a close call.
So we don't get involved in these things, but we always get the blame, don't we?
Yeah, I don't know.
When whoever comes up with these, what do you call them?
Nobody ever questions my
Power rankings?
Nobody ever
Rankings or
questions
whatever,
mine.
whatever they are. People think it's us, don't they? We end up
Absolutely annihilated you last week, by the way.
Nobody ever
we
questions
end up getting the stick.
An
Never found
absolute
that.
joke.
It's a bit like when people phone up.
Hello?
It's about when people tweet you and say, right, get the show back on ESPN 2. As if we're just going to walk upstairs
Put it plugged back
whatever
in.
that is. Right, get it back on.
We've had a tweet. Oh, sorry. All right, there it is.
What a tweet. It says, get it back on or else.
Okay.
Yeah, happens like that, doesn't it?
Good question. British bars or American bars?
Oh, I like American
I like
bars.
American bars. I like sitting at the bar,
Correct.
which is not really done in Britain.
No, definitely American bars.
For what?
Chatting, socialising.
Penalty shootout.
No?
No.
What do you like doing?
British ones. People leave you alone.
People what?
Leave you alone.
Oh. You're an interpreter there.
Go for a quiet pint. In the nook. Get out the road.
Stevie, have you ever had a quiet pint in your life?
It's always started as a quiet pint.
Who talks to you in American pubs? Nobody talks to me.
Who does they talk to you?
Nobody talks to
Everybody
me.
talks to you.
Jacko, what do you prefer?
American pubs.
Yeah?
To be fair, people, I do prefer American bars, and people, if you're in there, well, even if you're going with your wife, or people do talk to you, and that's all right. You are such an
What's the
antisocial-
social here?
I don't mind. I enjoy it. You're the antisocial one. Oh, I just want to be left alone.
Oh, everybody.
It's like a golf course.
It doesn't matter where
There's
you
people
go.
on this golf course.
Everybody
again.
talks to you.
I tell you what, this takes us brilliantly to the final question, which is,
right.
we always hear Oscar parties are amazing, but what are ESPN FC parties like? I can tell you, ESPN FC parties, Stevie is not sat in the corner on his own, telling people to ignore him.
It's my choice. I guess the point I'm getting to is sometimes you don't have a choice. People just pop themselves next to you and then you can't get rid of them.
Well, don't answer them.
Well, don't talk to them.
I'm not rude.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you can't be rude, can you?
Well, you're going out and don't want to talk to anybody. That's rude.
Or just want to go like that. Is that what you want me to do? Aye? All right, I'll do that next time then.
We are absolutely masters, Stevie and I, at ordering Ubers at the end of nights. I mean, there's not two people better prepared for the drive home than him and I.
Yeah.
So, whose legs was it that was poking out of the back seat window?
Mine.
That was yours.
Only because I ordered an Uber and it arrived seemingly within about 5 seconds because he went off and found the Uber, which wasn't actually an Uber, it was just a member of the public.
It was your research. It was a researcher,
It was a
wasn't it?
researcher, and Stevie didn't recognise and said, the Uber's here, and I jumped in the back window.
Yeah, and you jumped through the back window.
And then,
And then 2 days later,
Allegedly.
you had an Uber with Stevie there?
allegedly.
Allegedly.
When Stevie couldn't remember his address.
Yep.
Stevie, where do you live?
I was taking the mic.
Stevie, where do you live? Number 85. That was all we could
A
get.
few stabs, that's it.
That's all we could get is Stevie. Where is 80? I need more than that, Stevie. 85. We had to call his wife to get his address.
No, one of the best things is, hey,
Turning into one of those extra times again.
Oh, yeah.
one of the best things
See the
is,
time, by the way. Come on, hey.
yeah, we need to,
Oh.
we're guaranteed, just quickly, guaranteed, up till about 48 hours after the event,
Yeah.
him and I will go, one of us will go, how do we get back? Guaranteed.
Oh.
In fact, I went up and thanked Russinol.
Tony, yeah,
Tony
I think he was
Russinol,
here,
who's
yeah.
not in the office anymore. I went up and thanked him for the lift home the next day, and he informed me that it wasn't actually him who drove me home.
It was another researcher.
Frank,
Who's also left.
who's also left. Must be something to do with the Uber.
Right then, that is it. Stevie Scott, are you all right getting home, Stevie?
I'll watch.
Yeah, no Ubers tonight.
85, don't sit at the
Number
bar.
85.
We'll be back tomorrow, very busy. Oh, busy show. Tomorrow.
I'm
Stevie-
coming back tomorrow.
Yeah?
Yeah, come
Stevie's off.
I'm off.
He's going to go drinking with...
On his own.
An American pub.
I want a British pub and I want it now.
Don't talk to me.